This is Malcolm Reese with TPNewsroom.com, and I want to talk about something. And I'll be honest, Unfiltered normally comes from meeting, conversations, random ideas, sometimes articles from the previous day, week, month, whatever. No rhyme or reason, just topics that don't fit nicely with TP Newsroom. So we put it here on camera and I talk about it. But yesterday we talked about little points on the world timeline that, for all intents and purposes, shifted the country in ways we didn't understand at the time when it was made, when the decision was made. And one of the biggest ones happened in 1987 when I was probably 9 or 10. It was the repeal of the Fairness Doctrine. Now, most people today don't even know what the Fairness Doctrine was. They just know the world we live in right now, with noise everywhere and lies flying across the screen like they're facts. But before 1987, television and radio stations had to present contrasting viewpoints. If you said something on the air, you had to give space for the other side. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't pure, but it created a sense of balance. When they repealed it, the message was simple. We don't need balance anymore. We don't need accountability. Anyone can say anything, repeat it 1,000 times, and call it truth. And that moment changed the entire being of America. Because here's the thing. The sky is blue, 100%. Everybody knows that. But if someone with a big enough microphone says the sky is red, and they say it every day, and they say it with confidence, eventually millions of people will swear they can see it. Not because the sky changed, but because repetition rewires reality. Once the guardrails were gone, lies had no friction. They could move freely. They could grow. They could harden into identity. And here is the part I want people to hear. Racism didn't start in the 80s. It didn't start in the 50s. It didn't start in the 1800s. It has always been here in some form. It has always been a part of the American background. But what changed after 1987 was the comfort, the broadcast, the volume, the way people could say the quiet thing out loud and feel like the world is finally ready to nod along. I remember being in AP history, and the kids would talk and laugh about the latest Rush Limbaugh and Howard Stern and what was said. And I didn't see it then, but it was like a race to the bottom of who could say the craziest stuff and get traction for it. I don't care if somebody dislikes me because of my skin color. That's their belief. Decay, own it, love it, live it, whatever. Say it out loud if that's who you are. Free speech gives you that right. But free speech does not remove consequences. That is the part people skip over. You can speak freely, but the world is allowed to respond. And what bothers me is not that racism exists. It is that the environment we built after 1987 rewarded it. Outrage became currency, shock became entertainment, division became programming. The internet came later and poured gasoline on a fire that was already burning. So now you look around and it feels like hate is everywhere. Not because it suddenly appeared, but because the microphones got bigger, the filters got weaker, and the guardrails disappeared. That is why I keep coming back to 1987, because people didn't understand the future they were voting for. They saw the moment, not the consequence. They saw freedom, not the flood that comes when you break a dam without building a wall behind it. So when I look at the country today, I don't start at social media. I don't start at Trump. I don't start at the pandemic. I go back to that moment in 1987 when we told the media world, you don't have to be fair. You don't have to be balanced. Just say it louder, say it again. And if it sells, keep going. That was the turning point. That is when truth stopped being protected territory and became something you can manufacture. I was 9 or 10 when it happened. I didn't understand it. I didn't even think about it, but I understand it now. And its effect is always on my mind.